Hi, and welcome back to another video. My name's Simon, and this evening I'm off on a camp, a solo overnight camp, just me, and I'm getting there by bike. Well, I've got to get a bit of a wriggle on because I'm chasing the sunset here. I think I've got about 45 minutes of light left, and I've still got to find myself somewhere to camp and set up before it gets dark. So yeah, I better step up a gear, I think. So as you can tell, we're rapidly losing light here. I'm going to gather some wood so that I can get a cup of tea on the go. I'm not going to have a fire as such tonight. I'm just going to use my firebox stove and just keep that going. I don't want to have a fire on the ground. I'm in coniferous woodland, and I've just tried to dig through all the pine needles and try and get down to soil. But you know, I've dug down for 6 inches, and it's still just more and more sort of organic matter, really. And I'm not happy about having a fire on it. Because I could very easily set fire to it, and you know, I don't want to damage this beautiful woodland here. So I'm going to keep my fire off the ground in the firebox. Be good enough for cooking. I should get some heat from it, and all will be good. So it was nice to come out here by bike today. I haven't been on my bike for ages, yeah, it was a good opportunity, and nice to cover a bit of extra ground, really. You know, more than I would have done on foot. So it was good. So I'm going to think about getting some dinner on shortly. I've had a nice cup of tea, and starting to get a bit hungry. I've got chili tonight. I thought of you, Mike, when I picked this out for what I was going to have for dinner tonight, because it's a dehydrated meal, but it's not one of those pre-packaged ones. This is one that I did myself. Oh, that's good. Some tortilla to dip in it. well, the temperature's dropped quite a bit. I've had to put another coat on. I'm going to make another hot drink. I brought a kind of powdered cherry drink with me, so I'm going to have a hot cherry drink, and I'm going to crawl into my sleeping bag and read for a bit before going to sleep. So I shall catch you guys in the morning. Good night. Cherry with just a hint of chili. Quite nice, actually. Morning, folks. It's 7:30. I slept pretty well. I woke up a few times, but not because of coldness, which is good. So my sleeping bag did its job. I'm just boiling up some water for a cup of tea, and then I'll think about getting some breakfast on the go. So now we've got a bit of daylight, I thought I'd show you my setup from last night. So I've got my tarp set up in a lean-to with the front edge tied out to trees and one corner dropped down. There's a convenient little tree stump just down here. I like to drop one of the corners just in case there's rain. There wasn't forecast for rain last night, but you just never know. So that's how I was set up. Then I've got a ground sheet on the ground down here with my sleeping mat, and then me on top of that. My trailer came in really handy here as a windbreak, and it also meant that I could organise my stuff a little bit and put stuff on top and organise things a little bit better, which was great. Okay, my sleeping bag. I wanted to show you this last night, but it was just too dark. To show you this properly by torchlight, it just wouldn't have worked. So this is what I used. It's a Buffalo sleeping system. Buffalo make sleeping bags and clothing mostly out of fibre pile and Pertex. So what I have here is the outer bag from a four-season sleeping bag system. There's two that you can get from, well actually there's three you can get from Buffalo. There's the four-season inner and outer, there's the super bag, and they do a lightweight version now as well, I think. But this is from the four-season sleeping system. It's a deep pile inner with a covering of Pertex, which is a very fine weave of nylon, which is windproof, very fast drying, and wicks moisture really well. So any perspiration from when you're asleep will get wicked out through this fibre pile to the outer layer, where it will evaporate really nice and quickly. Okay, so I've got the outer bag here from the four-season sleeping bag. It's got a central zip, a one-way central zip, and a fantastic hood, which you can zip right down and then open up from the top, so you have a much smaller opening. They call it a snorkel hood, and it means that you don't lose so much heat through the opening where the hood is. And, you can adjust that. It's adjustable, so you can have a really small opening if you want, just enough to breathe, but it keeps warmth trapped in there, so it keeps you much warmer. Okay, so the hood is brilliant, and it's a close-fitting hood. There's no drawstring or anything. It's just it just fits your head basically. So that's that. The inner bag that I used is actually from the super bag. system, and it's slightly different. It's still fibre pile. It's a thinner fibre pile, not as thick as on the outer, and it's still Pertex on the outside. But there's one or two differences. Firstly, the zip opens from the bottom as well as from the top, so you can get your legs out and you can walk around in this sleeping bag. If you get up in the middle of the night to answer the call of nature, you don't have to get out of your inner sleeping bag. You just unzip the inner, unzip the outer rather, get out of the outer, and you can walk around in the inner bag. Okay, so you don't get so cold. So that's really good. And in addition to that, up at the shoulders, there are two zips either side, so you can get your arms out. So in the morning when you get up, you can make your cup of tea without getting out of your sleeping bag, which is brilliant. Or if you need to, get your torch in the middle of the night, or if you're reading or whatever, it means you can stay nice and warm inside your sleeping bag without having to get out. The hood doesn't have the big zip on it like the outer bag does. It's just a fitted hood, just simple, and obviously that hood goes inside the other hood while you're sleeping. And yeah, it's really good. Last night, as I say, it dropped down to about 3 degrees, but I know I'm in the woods and it's a little bit sheltered, but there is a bit of breeze. I think with that wind as well, it probably dropped down to about 0, and I was toasty and warm. I woke up a couple of times during the night, but not through being cold. I could feel the cold air on my face at one point, but I just zipped up that snorkel hood and made a smaller opening, and I was instantly warm. It was great. Yeah, really, really big fan of this. I like it. It stays warm even if it gets wet. It's absolutely bomb-proof. If I got a spark off the fire onto this, or I punctured a hole in it from a stick underneath or whatever, it's not going to stop working. I'm not going to lose the insulation out of that hole. It's going to carry on doing exactly what it's supposed to do. So it really is very robust, ideal for bushcrafting. Because it's modular, you can use the inner and the outer independent from one another. So the inner bag being smaller, being thinner, would make an ideal summer sleeping bag on its own, for example, which obviously keeps the weight and bulk down. The outer bag is probably more like a 2-season, maybe just touching 3-season sleeping bag on its own. Okay, and then together it's a full 4-season bag. There are a couple of drawbacks. Nothing is perfect. One of them is bulk. This is a really bulky sleeping bag. If you're into lightweight backpacking, I'd forget it. Don't bother with this. Go for a lightweight down bag, or one of the modern synthetic bags which pack down almost as well as down. This is bulky, and it's bulky just because the fibre pile doesn't compress very well. So I ended up buying a compression bag for one of the American modular sleeping bag systems, because I couldn't find one big enough to take this sleeping bag, so that just puts it into perspective. The American modular sleeping bag's well renowned for being a big bulky thing. Well, this is as well. And there you have it. If I put my water bottle next to it for comparison, you can see it's quite a big thing. The other downside is it's also heavy. It's well over 2 kilograms, this bag. So there is that consideration. Right, let's think about breakfast. I've bought some porridge, but do you know what? I really don't fancy porridge. I've got to be in the mood for porridge. I'll take it or leave it. So, what I have got are 2 wraps, and I've got some jam. So I'm going to have a couple of wraps with some jam on and a hot chocolate. I'm going to toast my wraps on the grill and the firebox. Hopefully they'll just char up a little bit and be a bit tastier. Thanks for joining me on my overnight camp. I've had a really nice evening. It's been lovely and peaceful in this woodland. Gorgeous. I had the sound of owls to nod off to sleep to last night, calling to one another. It was gorgeous. Well, I'm going to finish my hot chocolate and I'm going to get my camp packed away, get it all back to how it was when I arrived. Well, thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.